How's it going, Godzilla fans, Kaiju fans, collectors, and just general people of YouTube? This is Chanzilla 1964 coming back to you with yet another figure review. This is going to be the double figure review of my Tokyo Godzilla Haul line or series. One of them. I don't know. This is like one of the few reviews that I did a lot of in a day, so yeah. Anyways, the figures we'll be reviewing today is the Bandai Movie Monster Series Godzilla GMK and Ghidorah GMK, aka Godzilla 2001 and King Ghidorah, or just Ghidorah 2001. And yes, I'm going to be doing a double review of these guys because I picked them up together at the same place on the same day. And they came out at the same time, so it's like, it makes sense. And they're from the same freaking movie. Now we're just missing Mothra and Baragon from the movie, and then we'd be set. Which I am waiting for them, Bandai, so please, as soon as possible, please release them. With different molds. Like these two, because they're two totally different molds. I'm not going to go into why and how. Just know that they are. I can tell you right now, the heads and the neck positions are different. And for the Godzilla, totally different head sculpt. So, totally different chest sculpt too. So, yeah, totally different, not resized figure molds. Really, really good. But without further ado, let's actually get to the figures themselves. But I did pick them up together at Don Quixote on my first night in Japan, so these two hold a very soft spot in my heart as figures. So, now let's get to the figures. Let's start off with the big, bad, at the end of the movie reveal, King Ghidorah himself. The 1,000-year-old dragon that didn't quite make it to 1,000, but he definitely fought like he did. Honestly, this is my favorite King Ghidorah good design, despite all the jokes I made just now. Because, one, this is the first King Ghidorah figure that I had as a kid. Not this one specifically, because how could I? Because I'm like 20-something right now. But the Bandai Creations version of this incarnation of Ghidorah was the first figure I had of Ghidorah. So this Ghidorah also holds a soft spot in my heart. And the fact that this Ghidorah also has similar paint to that one, it just hits me where it just hits me, man. Detail on this guy is really, really amazing, though. The scaling work is, for all the new Ghidorahs that have been coming out, amazing in that the scales look like they overlay each other, going from the necks to the chest to the legs to the very tips of the tail where the scales run to. Man, the scaling work is amazing. And it's just this feathered scaling pattern is just love it. Really, really amazing. Good stuff. Yeah, I'm done showing off the scales. As you guys can see, the wings are done very, very nicely in Ghidorah fashion. You got this rib going this way, the 3 ribs going out this way. Same thing underneath here. Very, very nicely done. You got the tips of the wings here as well. Very nicely done. They're not quite spiky or thorny as they were on the 8-inch, but that's totally cool. They don't have to be. Heck. Since we're here, we are on the back. You got the spikes going down Ghidorah's necks here. Very nicely done as they translate down the back of Ghidorah. Really appreciate this. The spikes are not exactly poking out as much as they could be. Not a big thing for me because they're there. That's what matters, is that they're there, unlike the 2019 Ghidorah where the spikes weren't there. But we're focused on 2001 Ghidorah, this perfect figure of a Ghidorah. And I'll get to why I think this is a perfect figure in a little bit. But spikes transition into the 2 spikes here for the tails that run all the way down to the very tips of the toe where you got the spikes that wrap all the way around. Turned out beautiful. I mean, freaking beautiful. Love it. Love how this turned out. And it gives me hope for a Grand King Ghidorah, because this kind of gives me a reminiscence of the Grand King Ghidorah figure as well. So yeah. Now to the main body of Ghidorah here, let's look at his feet. His feet are very nicely detailed with this scaling pattern translating to the armored plates here that go all the way down the toes, and there's webbing for the toes too. I mean, just really, really good detail. And the tonal detail right there as well, and the back dew claw right here. And there's even some divots in some of these scaling right here, which is a really nice touch, in my opinion. Really nice touch. You're going to find that on both sides of Ghidorah, both of Ghidorah's legs. That was the star of the show for me, for Ghidorah, as always. The heads and the necks, actually, too. Here, the necks. So the heads are going to be pretty much the same for the left and right. The wrinkles are done very nicely. Here you got the whole Varan ear thing going on. Translates very nicely. The three horns, very, very good. Teeth are all individually sculpted here too, which I thought was crazy, and I really appreciate it. But man, all the wrinkles and folds in Ghidorah's face, making him look, in fact, like that 1,000-year-old, or in the movie, was like 800, 300 years old. However hundreds of years old dragon this Ghidorah was, it really looks the part. And he even got the tongue detail in there as well, for whichever, if the camera can pick up for whichever head. You're just gonna take my word that there's a tongue in there, I guess. Camera ain't picking it up, but yeah, very, very good detail all around. And it's gonna be the same for this head, pretty much, right here, and this head with over here. Everything's gonna be practically the same with the folds. In fact, the folds can be a little more. No, it's just about the same. I was gonna say you could tell more. There's more detail with this middle head because its mouth isn't open. That's just me. But yeah, the only difference with detail besides the mouth being closed is pretty much nothing for the heads. The necks, though, the neck detail is very interesting, that this neck is a little more curved this way. This neck is curved down like a rainbow. This neck has that regular GMK Ghidorah curve in that it kind of sinks a little bit and it curves up. So I appreciate how the necks are all positioned differently. Now paint is just going to be this whole gold dragon thing going on here, and then you got silver for the toenails, silver for the tips of the horns, silver for the teeth. You got this really nice dark red, deep dark red for almost brown for the inside of the mouth and the tongues. The eyes are painted very nicely. For the eyes, you get the white part of the eye, the red, or the red iris, and the black pupils for all 6 of his eyes. The part that I found cool that Bandai didn't really have to do was that they painted the Varan piece of King Ghidorah, of this GMK Ghidorah, all of it. I mean, all of it, all 6 sides of it was painted, which really helps to bring out the character, which is just, yeah. I should stop raving about this guy's detail because we're going on really long in this video. Let's get to articulation here, and well, detail and paint, but the articulation, legs move. There's glue seals at the head, but do not try to break them. They do not move. And the tail, there's glue seal at the tail, but it doesn't move. And the wings can kind of flap, but they definitely don't turn. So that's it for articulation. We'll get to size comparison at the very end, but let's bring in the ghostly G-Man himself. GMK Godzilla. So the GMK Godzilla, the detail is, again, really good, and so is the paint in that. Let's just do the paint right now. Paint over here goes all the way down to the tip of the freaking tail. 2 for 2, the Godzillas. The paint goes from the tip of the dorsal plates to the tail. And since we're here, let's go over the detail for these dorsal plates too. And that it's really good. Like from this dorsal plate, which is something I really remember from the movie, and it's something that stuck out all the way down with these very nice kind of coral dorsal plates. The detail is perfect, and so is the paint as they transition down to these little stubs here for the tail. Heck, even the tail is done really nicely. I really like this GMK Godzilla's tail. It's not too stubby, at the same time it's not ridiculously pointy, which is how it should be, because that's how it is in the movie. Now, going on, continue for detail, this scaling pattern is showing throughout the body pretty much. For his tail over here, for the arms, the neck, and it's a little more spiky over here for the neck too, a little more kind of spiny scales, which is very, very nice touches of detail, even for the legs, except for the kneecap, of course. Got that same scaly detail. Now, where the detail changes is kind of around the joints, I noticed for Godzilla, where the detail kind of turns to squarish, kind of roundish, hexagonal details on the shoulders, this part, the kneecaps, or I'm sorry, the hips, kneecaps. Yeah, it's a very interesting touch of detail. That is, yeah, here, very interesting touch of detail. Really appreciate it though. Here's Godzilla's hands, very nicely done inside of the hands, got that similar detail. Then you got his feet, his toes, very, very well done. In fact, this is probably the favorite part of this Godzilla. Tonal, very, very well, nicely done. But the feet for this Godzilla is probably my favorite part of him, and that his feet are so ridiculously huge that it's always something that stuck with me for this guy. Even for the Bandai Creations figure, it always stuck with me. You're gonna have this kind of, I guess you could call it strip kind of scaling here. That goes all the way from the belly to the neck. Kind of fades away in the neck here though. Yeah. The neck is very nicely done actually though too, because his neck is definitely something that is another thing that makes him unique, on top of his chest and his belly, his old GMK bear gut belly. The face though, this is the GMK Godzilla face. Granted, he looks about just as ferocious as the 8-inch one, which is decently enough. Not as goofy as the Bandai Creations one, not as ferocious as the SH Monster Arts one, but a bit of an in-between where he looks very mildly ferocious is what I'm trying to say here. Still really, really good, because he looks more ferocious than the 8-inch one, but just barely. That he has a little snarl thing going on here. The eyes, the eyebrow is done very nice. It's a little more raised. In fact, the ear is done very nicely. This ear detail, just yes. And then you got the cheekbone really high up here, the chin, the really nicely defined chin for this Godzilla. Both sides. I mean, yeah. Face detail, even though it's not as ferocious, it really does get the job done. And the ear detail is something that really, really just adds on to it. And you got the little spikes over here for his head. Head on, you got his nose. And, okay, now he looks ferocious. Head on, he looks ferocious. From the side, he doesn't really look ferocious. As I'm doing this review, there's a lot of things I'm discovering about this figure. That's all I'm going to say. The teeth detail is very nicely done. And in fact, something cool is that there's some additional teeth here. Like, it's reminiscent of Shin Godzilla, that is very uneven, kind of just here and there on on both sides of this figure. Oh, yeah. Detail work is amazing. And as you can see, the paint work is amazing. The darker bone color for the teeth. Similar, really deep dark red color, kind of purplish color for the inside of the mouth here too. That's why it's kind of hard to see the tongue. And then a very kind of lighter bone white for the fingernails and toenails. The whites of the eyes is perfectly painted. As much as I appreciated the SH Monster Arts version of the GMK Godzilla in that it had that really glossy, kind of grayish, almost soulless look to it, this is perfect because his eyes was white. Not necessarily as soulless as the SH Monster Arts one, but I really do like that artistic choice that they went with it in making him look truly soulless. So yeah. And then, like we said, dorsal plates painted perfectly. Onto articulation for this guy. Two arms move. Just be careful not to scrape against the legs here. The legs move 360. Sadly, unlike his 8-inch counterpart, there is no head seam at all. So no head articulation. There is a tail gluteal. Tail doesn't move. So yeah, 4 points of articulation. Pretty standard for the Bandai Movie Monster Series Godzilla figures. Size comparison. If I remember from the movie, this size comparison is pretty perfect. Yeah, this is actually pretty perfect because the one scene that I remember is that when Ghidorah bites Godzilla's arm and then Godzilla bites Ghidorah's middle neck and then this neck is just kind of here trying to blast Godzilla. Yeah, translates perfectly here. So yeah, this is a perfect sizing for the GMK Godzilla and Ghidorah. These two size up perfectly together. Now I cannot wait till we get Baragon and Mothra. Even though, for me, I'm hoping Bandai goes throughout in making Baragon like short, like up to Godzilla's hand here. Short, and Mothra kind of on the smaller side too. Because then we'd have a perfectly sized 6-inch Godzilla GMK set going on. Because one of my bigger worries, and I'm kind of straying off the figures here because, okay, long story short, I'd recommend you guys get these figures. Millennium fan, Godzilla fan. If you had these figures when they're Bandai Creation versions and you really liked them, you should get these guys because they're like 10 times better than the Bandai Creations Godzilla figures that came out for the GMK Ghidorah and the GMK Godzilla. But anyways, one of my big worries for this GMK line that Bandai has going right now, even though they just came out with these two recently, is that they're going to oversize Baragon and Mothra. They're just going to kind of underpaint her, which is kind of what I'm expecting, so I'm not really bummed about it. But I don't want her being oversized too, even though I think it'd be hard to oversize her. But it'd be easier to oversize Baragon in this sense, and that he's as tall as Ghidorah, which would be ridiculous. He should be like maybe up to Ghidorah's chin, bottom chin, if he's standing up. Like, yeah, that's one of my bigger worries for when they make a Baragon figure, is that they're going to oversize him. So Bandai, if you're watching this, please don't oversize Baragon for this figure line. If you do, you'll hear about it from me. But yeah, it'd just kind of be a bummer because this line is really good right now. If you have a perfectly sized Baragon and a very decently now, not perfectly or amazing, but decently painted Mothra, this could be one of the best movie monster series movie sets that we get. The GMK line. Because I can tell you, the Final Wars line is already kind of The GMK line has a lot of potential though. That's just my opinion. But with all that being said though, that concludes today's review. If you guys like what you see on this channel, if you guys liked this video, I jumped the gun there. If you guys like this video, do be sure to hit the thumbs up button down below. If you guys think I may have missed anything, which would be kind of hard considering how long this video is, do be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. If you guys like what you see on the channel, do be sure to hit the thumbs up button down below and stay tuned for the 3 figure review coming soon. after this figure review. That's right. The last part, technically the last Godzilla figures that I have to review from the Tokyo, Japan trip haul is going to be the Godzilla 1974 figure, Flying Mechagodzilla figure, and because they're all part of the same movie, I'm going to throw in, anyways, technically the same movie, the 1975 Godzilla Soul of Chogokin Mechagodzilla figure. Yes, I'm going to do a 3-figure review. Maybe, because I'm saying that out loud right now, and throwing in the 75 Mechagodzilla doesn't sound like a good idea. But, well, we'll find out when we get there. But anyway, stay tuned for that figure review. And, yeah, until next time, this has been Chanzilla 1964 saying until next time. Again, peace.